joining the military can open a new world. It can be a turning point for someone looking for direction. For one ambitious 20-something, 1999 was the year his life took that turn. A chance to see the world, to grow, and to work his way up the ranks to become team leader and eventually Sergeant Ben Hayhurst.
I joined because, for one, I needed a job, and for two, it just seemed like it would be fun. I didn't pay attention to world politics.
But that changed in just one day.
Another one just hit the building. Wow.
9/11,
Wow.
it gave me purpose. We left in March. We were on the ground in Iraq April 1st. We were involved in a massive ambush against us on our 4th day in country, so April 4th. That day we lost 8 guys and there was over 60 of us wounded. I was hit with 2 bullets that day in my left shoulder. Medevaced back to the States, had a couple surgeries. The military really builds a family. We were there fighting for each other. I wanted to get back to my guys. June 25th, I was back on the ground in Iraq.
The siege, known as Black Sunday, and the battles that followed took their toll on body and mind.
I got hit by multiple IEDs. At some point in there, I actually cracked my neck as well. So basically, the injuries from that year are pretty much what have put me where I'm at now.
The memories of those images, the sounds, and even the smell could be just as real today as it was then.
Some of the things that happened are things I know I'll carry with me forever. They're memories that won't go away. The mind is an incredible thing in that imagery sticks. Keeping occupied is a huge aspect of mental health.
Time can be your own worst enemy, making sense of the past while trying to look to the future, a search to keep the mind and body busy. One day, when Ben happened to be recovering in bed, life seemed to present another of those turning points.
So about 4 years ago, I was on YouTube and I was just watching videos. I was laid up, couldn't move very well, and came across a video of a guy making Damascus steel. And I remember reading about Damascus steel as a kid. I thought it was really cool that they could put the pattern in the steel. So I decided I wanted to try that. But before I could make the Damascus steel, I wanted to have something I could do with the steel once I made it. And I saw all these knife making videos, so I just started knife making.
Now, with Bladesmith as his title, Ben makes Damascus steel knives for his friends and former brothers in arms. And some he actually sells to the public. So popular are his designs, as soon as he's finished one, it flies out the door.
Part of the fun is taking a piece of steel and pushing it where you want it to go and making it into what you want.
Not long ago, a friend and Marine veteran, along with a small group of New York City firefighters, challenged Ben with a new mission, an idea based on an oath called the Spartan Pledge, and a sword made from World Trade Center steel, created to bring attention to the epidemic of military veterans taking their own lives.
Since getting home, we've had guys from our unit kill themselves, and it's become something that I'm more and more aware of all the time.
I will not take my own life by my own hand.
I will not take my own life by my own hand until I talk to my battle buddy first.
We said, why don't we make a sword out of the steel from 9/11? And just the reverence and the importance of that steel would mean so much more to these servicemen and women.
So that's what we did, you know, I contacted a couple other guys. They did some research, found a swordsmith down in Texas, and you know, it wasn't very long at all. It was a couple months later we had the final product.
firefighter first responder suicides have been on the rise for years, and many of them still go unreported. Last year, more lives were lost to suicide than on duty.
We need to get these guys thinking about this now, because if they're not aware of it until later, there's always that chance it's going to get out of control before they even realize what they're doing with, and then these numbers are going to keep growing.
Within a few months, Ben found himself presented with a block of World Trade Center steel and an axe used in the aftermath, with the challenge of creating not a sword, but a fire axe, this time to support our first responders.
You're basically taking two different types of steel, putting them in a stack, heating them to 2300 degrees, and then compressing them, and that heat causes them to basically fuse together. You start with your 2 layers and you stack them in alternating pieces. I start between 10 and 30 layers in a stack. Heat that up to 2250, 2300 degrees. Smash that out into a bar. Then you take that bar and you cut it into pieces and you stack it back up. For a knife, I typically put about 200 layers in. At which point, then you forge it into whatever you're looking for. With Damascus, to show that pattern, you have to etch it in an acid. So it forms a type of topography on it. If you do it right, it's going to etch darker, it's going to turn blackish. And the other one's going to stay silver.
After more than 10 days of pounding, cutting, grinding, and forging, etched with the original New York City firefighters insignia and the new first responder pledge, it was ready to begin its journey.
The Spokane Fire Department is humbled to be a part of hosting this dedication ceremony for the Spartan Axe. We know from the National Fire Protection Association that firefighters are 2 times more likely to die from suicide than they are to die from a line of duty injury or illness.
To all of our SPD members, no matter who you are, it is always okay to not be okay. Seeking help is a sign of strength, not a sign of weakness.
See, the Spartan Pledge is not for yourself, it's for the other guy. The Spartan Pledge is not so you can live another day. The Spartan Pledge is so you know the other guy knows that they can reach out to you so they can live another day. Ben Hayhurst is the guy that created this one. He made this axe out of the World Trade Center steel. From pain comes respite. And if you look very, very closely, you'll see there are 417 lines, 417 pieces of metal. There are also 417 lost souls on that day on 9/11 in our first responder community. Each one of these folds, each one of these lines represents someone who gave the ultimate sacrifice for this country, for their community, for their city, for their fellow human being.
An axe that will never be carried into harm's way and never used to rescue someone in need, this fire axe exists for one purpose: as a reminder that service is reserved for the brave and should always, always be supported.